Hello, everybody. This is Founder Laerun, and I'm with Fantasy Grounds College, and I'm going to be building a barbarian type character or some sort of character that is themed for Reign of the Frost Maiden for the 10 Town series. I'm using Fantasy Grounds Unity. This is the early release edition. Imagine they'll have this done before long. Anyhow, if you have any questions or you are wanting to build something in particular, I am totally willing to stop what I'm doing and answer questions for you. So if you don't mind, um, having the patience for it, and we'll get started on it. So what I've done here is in the library, I have a bunch of extensions and things loaded. So I wanted to kind of preface this before that. I have a bunch of things that I can use to build upon. A lot of this is 5th edition product. Some of it's third party. Some of this stuff has been set up so it makes it easier to build characters. A lot of this material is from the Dungeon Masters Guild, like Rob 2E, spell effects coding, and Matakure's plugins, and I have a bunch of other authors that have done some really amazing things. One of the things I have loaded that's interesting that would have been very nice to have, it still is the tool in which allows you to automatically add a lot of the features that your characters get. And I'll show you what I'm talking about shortly here. So if I go to characters right now, I'm in player characters. And I know I started off saying I want to make a barbarian. Well, I've already made that. I have a barbarian and a ranger, a Goliath, and an ice sorceress. So I think today what I'm going to end up building is a bard. And this is someone who's trying to make it out in 10 towns, and they travel between all the different towns to do some type of entertainment. I don't know if it's going to be a storyteller, a dancer, or somebody that tells jokes or something that's entertaining that would probably help pass the time up there. The other thing is that this person would probably be heavily relied upon as far as how they survive on 10 towns. So if they go too far away from 10 towns, they may not be useful, or maybe they will. So I'm going to do a bard. If anybody has any suggestions, or if they want to see something else built, let me know, and I will gladly take and build something different. Right now, I'm building a bard, and it's going to be themed on Fantasy Grounds, obviously, but it's going to be the Reign of the Frostmaiden. Right now, I have a Dwarven Barbarian, and Lady Shell had actually suggested that I make this. And then Goliath Druid, so I've got that covered. And the Goliath Druid has a lot of good qualities that are going to be helpful in the game. We have a Snow Elf Ranger, so just basically an Elf Ranger, but a little bit different because of the Snow Elf part. Very rare. And then we have an Ice Sorceress, which I tried her out the other day, and she was phenomenal. She's almost overpowered, but I think the setting warrants it. So this is something that I've been working on for a couple weeks. Just want to have some 5th level characters that are ready to go in case I want to use them somewhere else. And I also want to have them themed for that setting. So if I run any one-shots or, part of the campaign or whatever I'm doing, I already have some characters ready to go. Never have too many characters. Okay, so basically, I'm going to have a character, and I'm going to build this from scratch. I'm not going to use the cheat, the character wizard. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this plus button. And in here, I'm going to start with my character. Now, every one of these I've rolled for. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and continue that. So I have a macro down below in my hotkeys. It's /die with a space after it, 4d6 K3. So it keeps the highest 3. It rolls 4d6 automatically. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so there is 6 die rolls. Not exactly the most prettiest thing in here, but right off the bat, this person is going to have a 17 charisma. For the next stat, definitely going to be a 12 for dex, and a 12 probably for intelligence or wisdom. Going to leave con as 10. Going to give him an 8th strength. And an 11 will probably go on, let's see, wisdom. Okay, so here's all the stats. So I'm going to work with that. I think I'm going to make this particular character something different. I want to say, I almost thought about making it a gnome or some sort of race, or maybe one of the Eberron characters, but I didn't want to get too far off the norm. So I think it would be awesome if I had a little, character that would make things interesting. So I'm thinking about going with Goblin. I don't know why, but Goblin is kind of singing to me. So I'm going to go to backgrounds, and let's take a look at what the backgrounds give us. So the background will help me decide, kind of how I want this character to go. And I'm thinking the Goblin Bard is kind of a way to go. It's different, something I don't normally make. So I'm going to go to create PC mode just so I have access to those. I think the Bard is going to be kind of fun to build. So I'm going to build a 5th level Bard, or maybe 4th level, and this character is going to be with this party. All those character levels are 5th. So I might make this one a little higher or a little lower. I don't know. And it's going to be a Bard. I'm not sure which college yet, but I'm going to go ahead and use the 5th edition rule set, and I have all the stats already. I rolled for them. And I had some lower numbers, so I got to work with those. So I gave the Goblin a strength of 8, which kind of makes sense. And I'm going to pick the background now. So this little Goblin has been in lots of trouble. I think he's in trouble with his clan, and he's been in trouble with the law and those sort of things. So he's kind of using 10 towns as a way to hide out, to stay out of the majority of the people that are out there. However, he still has to get around and make himself useful, and he has to make a living. So I'm going to go through here. Charlatan is kind of your typical, backstory. So I don't know if I'm going to use that or not. But it does have a lot of the things. It has sleight of hand and deception. And then it has a scam. So that might be good. Criminal. Can never have too many of those. Let's see. Entertainer. This would definitely fit in with the background of the character and such. Let's see. A Lost in the Underdark. No. Mentored. Mercenary. Miner. A noble. Outlander. Spy, maybe. Sage. I don't think so. Spy and Urchin is another one. So I think these are the backgrounds I'm going to choose from. So this is where you got to do a little research. So you get stealth, sleight of hand right there. This one you get performance and acrobatics. Deception and stealth for criminal. And charlatan, you get deception and sleight of hand. So I'm really thinking entertainer would be probably the best overall. But for a common, goblin that hasn't had any formal training in a while and then didn't start off that way, I think I'm going to take that one off. So now we come down to charlatan, someone who uses other people and scams and that sort of thing. I don't see him being that clever. So now we're down to urchin and criminal. And that's something that I want to check out. So criminals, that's trying to make as a musician and go straight sounds right. Yeah. That's a good idea. Straight up criminal, somebody who's trying to go on the straight and narrow, is a good idea. And I got to pick their crime specialty, so we'll see what that is. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll, or not roll, but grab and drag and drop this over to the background. And it automatically fills in all the things that go with it. And I get deception and stealth, so I don't have to worry about those when I build further. Now, this is a goblin, so let's see what his specialty is. So he has a criminal speciality. Number 8, the smuggler. How perfect is that? So he's involved with smuggling goods. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to put that on his notes tab, which is back here in his notes. I'm just going to drag and drop the text from the table. Just drop it on there as a reminder. And then you want to pick up a contact. So he works with somebody in 10 towns. So we'll work on that some point. That's a role-playing thing. So probably works with a corrupt caravan master or somebody that's not really on the up and up. Probably somebody that has some information on him. So they probably blackmail him to do things all the time, despite his, trying to turn over a new leaf. So that's probably what's going on with him now. Next thing I'm going to do is check out race, and I think I said goblin, something along them lines. So let's go to races. And actually, I have quite a few races I can pick from, but I want to go with a goblin, I believe, something that's a little bit more established. Could be a dwarf too, but so let's see. Okay, so goblin. So I'm going to drag and drop this over. And now I have to figure out which kind of goblin I am. So probably a mountain goblin. They're little mischievous guys. There's a wolf raider. They're kind of pathetic, but they tame and wild wargs. There's the horde shine goblins. And they are more accustomed to the Feywild. Monkey goblins are jungle types. And the blue indigo ones were born with different strange psychic abilities. So I don't think it's that. Don't think it's this monkey one or the horde shine. So it's either the wolf raiders or the mountain goblins. So I'm going to go with a mountain goblin. I think that's probably the best. Yeah. Huh. Okay. So mountain raider it is. So it's a mountain goblin. So they got an ability score increase. So it's got a little bit more dex, which is helpful. And I think that's it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. But that's better. I mean, 14 dex is nothing to cry about. Intelligence of 12, con 11. So he's not too bad. Just got a really weak strength, which is fine. So these are the mischievous little tinker type gnomes. So this is kind of cool. You have the resistance to all damage that originates from tiny devices that you have constructed. It's kind of cool. And then Fire stick, you can use torches that deal an additional 1d4 damage while they're lit. And tick, tick, boom, you can use tinker tools and come up with some kind of weird little gadgets. I like it. Kind of cool. So mountain goblin it is. But I like he's not your typical goblin subrace, so that's kind of cool. All right, so now I'm going to do class and level. So I'm going to pop up this sheet here, which is the class and level sub menu. I'm going to come over here to classes, and I'm going to go down the list until I find the bard. And there it is. Okay, so bard adds a few things, and I got 3 skills that I can pick. So I have deception and stealth. So probably athletics, or not athletics, but acrobatics. He knows how to lie, so let's make him a performer or survivalist. He's got stealth. Sleight of hand might be something. So that, he already has deception, and I think we should give him persuasion or performance. I think performance is better. There we go. So he's got the major things that he's going to need to perform. The only thing I could say I'd probably want him to have is like insight and maybe, well, he's not a wolf rider, so we don't need that. And survival, maybe. But other than that, he's good to go. Perception would be something I'd give him, but he doesn't have that great of a wisdom anyways. And it's not bad, so I'll just leave it there. All right, so he's got most of his skills. And now I'm going to level him up to at least level 4. So let's take a look at what he has. So he's got these items here. He's got the bardic inspiration and all that. So I have a plugin that automatically adds some of the stuff as you build your character, which is kind of nice. Let's see. So there's inspiration, there's criminal contact, spell casting. Here's his goblin traits, and then I have these tools that he's proficient with, plus he has these languages of goblin and common. So I'm going to go ahead and level him. So as I level him, you're going to be able to see that these items will be added as they are available for level. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this over and drop it on the sheet. And you can see it adds this stuff already automatically depending on what your specific build gives you. The next thing is I'm going to go up to 3rd level now, and this is where I get my college or bardic abilities and such. So now I have to come up with college. So there's the College of Lore, which I don't think fits him very well. There's a College of Valor, which would help him in combat quite a bit, but he's really not much of a combatant, I would say. So that's out. Glamour is, they're vibrant in the Feywild. I don't see him being too much like that. College of Swords would be helpful in certain ways. He would be trained with weapons and that sort of thing. I don't see him being quite that martial. Then you have the College of Whispers, which I think fits him very well. Other bards hate the College of Whispers. This is where you have the secrets. They appear to be like other bards, singing songs, telling tales, that sort of thing. But they are kind of using the bardic abilities to their advantage. They become wolves amongst sheep. They use their knowledge and magic to uncover secrets and turn them against others for extortion and threats. So this may be some of the reason why he's in trouble, is he was involved with this stuff. And then he has these like psychic blades and words of terror, so that might actually fit him. And then we have, of course, the mirthful mariachi. So the mirthful mariachi college is something that's not very common, but they get bonus features, proficiencies with ranged, simple, and martial weapons. They get crossover of destruction. They have weapons that look like they look like instruments, but they're actually not. That's kind of cool. I'm thinking that might be actually good for him because he's kind of got that tinkerer thing going on. So crossover crafting, yeah, this is kind of cool. So I think he will be the mirthful mariachi bard college, which is not very common. I think that would be good. Hey, how's it going there, Mike? Just building a bard, a goblin bard, and he's going to be working up in 10 towns as an entertainer. But he's got some criminal background problems, and he is a goblin. And I'm picking his college, and I think I'm going to go with this mirthful mariachi college because it has a crossover with crafting, like making weapons look like instruments. And he kind of has he's a mountain goblin, so they kind of have that gnome tinkering kind of thing going on. So it kind of makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and make him from that college. Okay, so that basically takes care of that. And now I'm going to go ahead and level him up to level 4. And at this point, he gets to either pick a feat or I can add 2 points to his ability scores. I think I'm going to do the 2 points. So I'm going to add a 15 to his dex, or make a +1. And then for his charisma or one of his other abilities, let me see what he has here. So most of his skills are charisma based or dex based. So he's good to go there. So I don't have to worry too much about that. So charisma it is. So he has an 18 charisma now. A little strong little personality for this guy. And I think that is basically all he's going to get. So I'm going to notate that on my ability sheet. Whenever you get an ability score increase, it's good to notate that. That way the DM knows what I picked when I leveled up. And then we'll go through all these shortly, but yeah, so I think I'm just going to leave him at 4th level. And he's going to carry around some kind of weapon that looks like an instrument, which I think will be cool. It'll be like sometimes in the movies they'll have stuff like that where a guy's carrying around the case. I don't remember what the name of that movie was with Antonio Banderas. But pretty cool. So he has the kind of a tinkering background in him, and he seems to be a little bit devious. And being that he's in the mariachi group, and then he's also a mountain goblin, kind of gives him that edge in when it comes to like crafting and such. That's kind of cool. So he makes little gadgets, and I can see him setting traps and that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and start detailing him now. He's got all his basic stuff now, and he seems to be in good shape as far as his ability scores go and such. All right, so that's that. So I'm going to go to his skills tab, make sure that's set. I'm going to add some tools here. So I'm going to go to his abilities. And one of his things, he has a gaming set and thieves tools, and then he gets 3 musical instruments. So I'm going to add those to this skills list here. So if I go down to the edit button on the bottom, and click on it, it'll add this green plus button, and I'm going to click on that like 5 times. Let's see, 1. Okay, and then I'm going to put tool. So he's got a gaming set, and it's dice. It's got a little problem with that. And then he has these thieves tools, which he uses occasionally to break into stuff. And then 3 instruments. All right. So I will define what those are depending on what weapons he's going to get. So those are all charisma based. And then as an expertise, one of the things he gets is at 3rd level, he gets to pick which of his proficiencies that he's doubled in as far as expertise goes. So I am going to say performance for sure. So he is double proficient there. And probably his stealth. And you can't go wrong with those. And he can do this again at 10th level. So he's expertise at those. And I got his thing set up. I know he's going to have a hand drum, some kind of mandolin, and like a wood or some kind of instrument like that, so a pan flute or something. So what I'm thinking is the hand drum might double up as something. The mandolin might have a sword hidden in it. And the pan flute is probably going to be a blowgun. With some kind of poison or something. So I think that's pretty cool. And then he has, let's see, that's the Bardic College. Bardic Inspiration, we'll check that. Bonus proficiencies. It says when you join the Mirthful at 3rd level, you gain 1 proficiency with 1 skill of your choice, as well as ranged, simple, and martial weapons. Huh. So he gets 1 skill of choice. I don't know if it actually let me pick that because Bard gives you, yeah, so he doesn't have his bonus proficiency yet. So I think I wanted to give him perception. So now he's proficient with that. And then he can get ranged, simple, and martial weapons. So I'm going to fix that if it's not on his. Right now it says light armor, which is fine. And then I get martial weapons. And he already gets simple weapons. So ranged weapons would be, it says, with 1 skill of your choice, as well as ranged, simple, and martial weapons. So he has simple, and the martial and the simple would cover all the ranged weapons. So I'm not too worried about range. So that takes care of that. I know Bardic Inspiration's already handled pretty much. Criminal Contact. I need to just figure out what that is. Crossover, crafting. This is where we turn the weapons into, uh, kind of like a way to they can trick and craft and maintain and sometimes repair the crossover weapons. And then crossover destruction is when you learn to guitar crossbows. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then expertise, we've already dealt with that, so I don't have to worry about that. Jack of all trades, I'll take a look at that. I'm pretty sure it's added here already. Yeah, so that's already added to the. So he's got Bardic Inspiration, Song of Rest, and Jack of all trades, and then he's got some of his lamp oil in his lamp here, and his crossbow or crowbar. So he's got a little bit of everything here. Yep. Okay, so gonna be male. Goblin ears, he's probably no, probably pretty young, probably 20. And I mean, in human years, he would be old. But right, so he's a smuggler and he's into this crazy weapons and he's got these weird little traits here. So duck is something I have to look at. Fire stick is to build a torch and you could use them as a weapon. So does he have torches? Yep, I think he does. Nope, he doesn't. So I'll give him some torches for items. And of course his crossover weapons. And let's see, Jack of all trades, we've already dealt with that. Song of Rest is already on there. He has spell casting, we haven't dealt with that yet. We'll do that later. Subterranean Song. So at 6th level, you become so attuned with the melodies of wind surging through the caverns. Okay, so he doesn't quite qualify for that yet. And then the Mirthful Mariachi College is where he's part of. Oh, here's a cool little picture of it too. That's really cool. I like it. So he's a little bandito kind of guy. I like it. And let's see, tick tick boom. He has nimble escape, which is handy. You can use that as a bonus action. And he has tick tick boom. So you can make like a little clockwork thing. Maybe it's a little bomb or something. There's an Inferno Kindler. There's a scrap grenade that he can make out of that trait. So that's cool. Okay, so that's that. He has his inventory. And I'm going to go ahead and reorganize that, but I want to add a couple things here. He needs his instruments. Like his loot, for instance, I think I will change that on here from mandolin to lute. So I think the tick tick boom, the hand drum, becomes this little bomb like scrap grenade. The pan flute, I think, is more or less like a blowgun. And then the hand or the lute is going to be his crossbow. So that's going to be cool. All right, so that is that. So I'm going to go ahead and Hall of Missiles. Wow, Hail of Missiles. Huh. Okay, so on his abilities, I have that. I've already kind of went through these. And then I'm going to make him chaotic neutral. He's got a little mean streak in him. And then he's like 3 foot something. There's a whole 80 pounds and he's like 3'8". And then I'm going to go through his personality traits and such. So let's do that. So I like rolling these things. The best way to get me to do something is to tell me I can't do it. Love it. Criminal ideal. People I'm loyal to, my friends, not to any ideals, and everyone else can take a trip down the sticks for all I care. That sounds pretty good. So he's pretty self-centered, except for with his friends. Bonds. Someone I loved died because I made a mistake. That's good. So he lost his loved one who made a big mistake somewhere. Someone he was in love with. And then for a flaw, I turn tail and run when things look bad. Perfect. That is totally him. So that's his background. I love it. And let's see, his log sheet. Don't worry about that. Actions tab is coming along. So yeah, he's getting there. He's got a dagger and a rapier. So those are going to go away, I think. The dagger will stay. The rapier, I am going to probably either disguise it or make it into something else. I don't know. But for now, I'm going to get rid of it. And I'm going to go to his inventory and work on this. So he has a dagger, which is fine. Maybe some throwing daggers if we want to get fancy. And then he has a loot. He has leather armor. Okay, so I'm going to start organizing this thing. So he has a chest that he carries all his stuff in. So I'm kind of sorting all this stuff out. He has some fine clothing that he'll put on sometimes. I think I'm going to give him some other tools that would probably help him. Let's see. He needs thieves' tools. He gets that. So that's good. Rapier, I'm going to take that off. A disguise kit. Clothes disguise. I think that's basically what it is. It's not a kit. It's more or less just clothes that he's collected. So disguise kit would have makeup and everything. I think this would just be more like clothes disguise. So I like that. He'll try to dress up like a halfling or a goblin, a different goblin type, or a gnome or something like that. He tries to mimic other smaller races. So that's something he does. I'm gonna give him a potion of invisibility. I don't think that's too bad. So he's gonna have one potion of invisibility. to get out of a bad situation, and then a potion of healing. So those aren't too bad. Okay, he's got his thieves tool, he's got that, and then I got to get the instruments. So the hand drum is going to be one of his crossover items. And his pan flute, which is going to be another crossover, or a flute. It doesn't have, but either way, it's going to be like a blowgun. So he has these little lethal weapons here. And actually, I'm not going to equip them here, but I'm going to give him the equivalents as far as the weapons go, so that they go into the combat tracker properly and into the weapons area. So I'm going to give him a hand crossbow. Or a light crossbow. Probably a light one. So the light crossbow is actually the guitar or whatever he has, this lute. And then the other thing is the blowgun. So here's the blowgun. And the needles. So the needles are going to go in the pouch, if I can find them. Where did they go? Oh, okay. Blowgun needle. And then I need a case for the crossbow bolts. So the case is going to carry the crossbow bolts. So I'm going to put next to the bolts when I find them. I don't have them yet. Okay, so crossbow bolts, 20 of them. Okay. So he has all his weapons are disguised as instruments, and they function as both. So that's pretty cool. So he has a dagger in case he needs to get into a scrap, but other than that, all his weapons are pretty much disguised. So I want to go to the Actions tab, and I'm going to go look up the blowgun. So a lot of missile-like weapons. And then he has a dagger in case he wants to throw it or stab somebody. And then I gotta make a fire stick, which is gonna be his torches. So I gotta add some torches to his inventory. Only gonna give him 5. I don't want too much weight. And a tinderbox so he can light it. I think he's good. He's got, yeah, he's getting close to his weight carrying capacity. So he doesn't normally lug this chest around. So I could technically take anything in this chest and uncarry it, and it would not count against his total weight. The other thing I'm going to do is, since his weapons are actually instruments, they're going to cancel the weight out. So his light crossbow is actually his loot. So I will take the loot weight out, or just make it very minimal. Put 0.001. The flute is actually his blowgun. So I will just keep the highest weight. So the blowgun is basically negligible. And then the hand drum is, I haven't designed the explosive yet, but that's going to be the hand drum. And I'm going to put that in his chest for now. So that's basically how he rolls. So he's got a loot. That's a crossbow. So I'm just making notations. And I see he's got his 2 potions. So I have those in his pouch. His dagger's there. His loot there. And where is his actual light crossbow, leather, loot, blowgun? Where's the blowgun? That's what I need. Right here. He probably gets 3 shots with it at the most. I don't know. I don't want to push it, but he gets whatever he gets. But the blowgun is the pan flute. So now he has these weapons disguises, which is really cool. And then I just have to make his fire stick. So he has Tinker's tools, which is another thing that he needs to have. So I need to get those. All right. I'll put that in his chest. And in an hour, and with some money and scrap, you can make a tiny device. The device will function after a day it breaks. Spend 1 hour repairing it. When it explodes, or when you use your action to dismantle it, at that time you can reclaim the material, and you can have up to 3 devices at a time. When you create a device, choose one of the following options. So there's a clockwork goblin, there's an infernal kindler, it's a device that makes flame, and then he's going to have a scrap grenade, which is what I'm going to get him. I'm going to have to build it from scratch. So basically that's how this works. So I'm going to make the scrap grenade as an item, and then I'm going to, he's got lamp oil. Let me take a look at that. So oil, lamp, 2. Yep. So there's that. So he has torches and a lamp. Okay. And then the crowbar, I don't need that on here. And then if he has a water skin, which I notice he doesn't really have any food or anything. So So I gave him 5 days of food. All right. So he's got everything that he needs mostly on him, but then all of his gear and stuff, a lot of it's over in his chest. Okay, so that's that. Um, he was supposed to get some starting gold. I'm not sure what happened, but it says 15 down here. So I will put that there. And I think we're good on food and water and supplies. We got his criminal background already. We have already looked at this. Crossover crafting. Yeah, I'll have to look at that. But anyhow, the only thing I have left to build is the grenade-like thing or the bomb, and then I have to pick a spells, and it's almost done, and then some goblin stuff. But other than that, he's pretty good. So he's got this potion here of healing. It's already added to his sheet, which is handy. And then I will put the potion of invisibility here and just put a note on it. Pick his spells. I think I want to do that now is pick his spells. So when you're building a character, in this case a bard, there is the shortcut to your class. And you want to have that available to you when you're building, especially when it comes down to the end. So you're kind of blending music and magic and different things together with a bard. So at 4th level, you get 3 cantrips and you can know up to 7 spells. So I'm going to pick the cantrips first. And I'm going to go to spells. And I do have the Rob 2E spell effects, so I'm going to get those loaded. Yep. The effects coding. So if you hang around this ending part, this is the more interesting stuff. I'm going to make the little fire stick, which in case he wants to turn his torch into, so that's something, one of his traits. And then there's also some other little things I have to do to make the character sheet complete. All right, so the effects coding are ready to go. Okay. And I'm going to click all. Click on spells. And then there's a drop down, and I'm going to pick spells. And now I'm going to go down here and select 0 for cantrips. And then the source is going to be a bard. And these are all of the things I get for a bard. So I definitely want Mage Hand, Prestidigitation, and Vicious Mockery. I think those are very helpful. So I'm going to just drag and drop those onto the sheet. They will go where they need to go. So Vicious Mockery, Prestidigitation, and Mage Hand. Mending would probably be cool too, but nonetheless. And then, let's see, Vicious Mockery, Prestidigitation. Make sure that those parse correctly, and they did. So if you're wondering what this little dot is here, if there's a spell token for it, it will auto apply because of the tokens that I have and the modules and extensions I have loaded. All right, so that's a spell token basically. All right, so I have those. Now between first, second, and third level spells, or actually first and second, I can do 7 spells total. So I'm going to look at first level. Okay, so I think, let's see, Fairy Fire is good. I always like that. And I like Sleep or Thunderwave or Featherfall is cool. Disguise Self. He's kind of already got a disguise kit, so I don't know if that's necessary. Charm Person, Bane, Animal Friendship, Healing Word, I'll just throw that in there. That's important sometimes. And then Silent Image. Oh, I'll look at the second levels. Okay, so Heat Metal, Old Person, Lesser Restoration, See Invisible, Shatter. I like Shatter. Very powerful spell. Let's see. Heat Metal. Okay, so that's 4. And I get 3 more spells. So Hold Person, Lesser Restoration. Definitely want that. Is there a Detect Magic? Let's see. Yeah, definitely want that. It's very utility, but something that is handy when you're out in the middle of nowhere. And I got 1 more spell. So I'm thinking 1 more. Let's see, probably Sleep or something that affects a group of people. Featherfall is interesting. Charm Person, Comprehend Languages. And just give him Cure Wounds. I ought to give him Healing Word, though. So maybe Identify. Something kind of, let's see, Silent Image, Sleep, Thunderwave. You know what? I'm going to give him Thunderwave so he can push people back. That's really handy. He gets cornered. That's a good thing to have. Okay, so there we go there. So that's the spells. Now what I'm going to do is prepare the spells by clicking on Preparation. I can have all these prepared, but I still am limited by the amount of spell slots. We're getting closer. And then I gotta, let's see, the potion's done. I don't have to worry about that. There's the oil. I need to add his food and water to that. So preparation, these are not daily items, so you only get to use these once. So I'm going to add a couple listings here. So this is going to be a new section called Standard Actions. And those can be found in the 5e effects coding under class features. So even though they're not really a class feature, that's where they're stored. So there's 4 of them. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now collapsing that for now because I don't need it. And then in that one section where the items are, I want to add rations. And instead of just, let's see, I want my torches. I already have that. The water skin. Okay. And then I'm going to switch it, get out of that mode, and go back to preparation. And these are only one-time use. So 5, 5, and 2. Or 5, 5, 1, and 2. Yeah, so he's only got 5 torches. Okay. And he's got a potion of invisibility, which I'm going to put on the sheet. So even though it's not really a potion or sorts or a power, I'm still just going to put it on here. So let's see, just so I can track it. So you can't drag items onto the combat tracker. However, a potion of invisibility would make you invisible for an hour. So I'm going to go to Rob's spell effects coding. And here are the, let's see, did I do the potions? Nope. So anyhow, you can put this down as a potion. And potion of invisibility. So this you can drag, is the way he set it up. So it's like a spell effect instead of just a description. So I'm going to drag and drop this in the potions area. And now it has the effect of visibility and has 1 hour. So that's what you want. And when I go out of the edit mode and back to preparation, these are only one-time use. So once I use these, they're gone. They'll come off this list. So that's that. So that's the potions that I have. And then, let's see, what else do I need? Those are all done. Those are all done. Kind of need my racial stuff, which is going to be weird. So let me look at that. I'm going to go to racial traits and goblin. Let's see what they give them normally. Yeah, so I have nimble escape. So I need to create a section here for racial traits. And then I made also a section for a new weapon. So I'll get to that. Racial traits. So what that's going to do is give me the option of adding the goblin traits. So nimble escape will be what I add. So I add a new group or a new power. Okay. And now I'm going to add the nimble escape. But then he's got all these other weird ones like he's got fire stick, which really isn't a racial trait, but it's part of it. And then I'm going to drag over duck. and that adds the 2 traits. So duck thing is more like a resistance to all damage that originates from tiny devices that you have constructed. So it's kind of like a resistance to anything that he's made if it's turned against him somehow. And then the fire stick is just adding a point of damage to the club. So what I'm going to do is fix this to where it's the full damage. So instead of just making it fire, I'm going to come in here and take a look at that. So that's fire. So that's fine. But I'm going to add the extra damage, which will be the actual stick, the club part of it, or the torch part. So I'm going to add action, and it's going to be damage. And this will be 1d4. And it is bludgeoning. And no bonus or anything. And then I'm going to do a cast in case you want to attack with it. So if he wants to run around and shake it and attack somebody, I'll just add an action, and it'll be the cast function. And then in the cast function, I will define that it is a melee attack. It's based off the ability. In this case, I'm just going to put base here. That's it. So you get some melee attack with that. And that's it. And he's proficient with it, of course. So that is the fire stick. So when I want to use this, if I go to get out of the edit mode, go to combat actions, now I have the actions for it. So you get the attack roll, the regular damage, and the fire damage. You could build it as a weapon, which I think I'm going to delete this. Instead, I made it an effect. And it's part of his racial thing, so that's why I did that. And then this thing here, this duck resistance thing, I'm going to add an action, I'm going to add an effect, and this only goes to him. So I'm going to go ahead and say self. I'm going to say it expires on his next action. We're going to call it duck. I got a semicolon, and I'm going to put resist. All. So I would be very careful with this. But basically, you put it on yourself before somebody uses your own device against you, or maybe you get blown up by your own bomb or whatever. So this will help you with that. So you would apply that temporarily. Once a round is over, it's set to expire. So it's just something to use in case. And then, of course, I'm going to have to do the boom boom thing, his bomb. And does he have Jack of all trades? He sure does, so that's good. So that'll add +1 to his initiative. And crossover is just a way to, so that's a class feature. I think I'm going to drag that over just so I have the information. That way I can read it whenever I need to deal with it. I don't have to go back. And then on his abilities, the crossover destruction, that's the one I need to deal with. So this is a feature. I think this is the Bard feature. So and what I'll do is I'll create 3 different attacks here, or maybe what, depending on what they do. But the just as more of a note. And then I need to find that boom thing. So that was duck, fire stick, nimble escape, and his ability here is under his bardic stuff. So I need to go to his mirthful mariachi and crossover destruction, I believe, is what I need to look at. Nope. I think it's his racial thing. So let me go to, yeah, here it is. Tick, tick, boom. All right. So this is his racial thing, which I'm going to add here. And as you can see, it's kind of already set up the actions here. So I'm going to go ahead and place this as a racial trait. Now the actions are set up. So depending on what you build, you will have this capability. You'll have the buttons ready to go. So now if you build any of those 3 items, you'll have the buttons for them. So that's basically all the stuff that he pretty much can use. I don't think he needs anything else. What's good, Founder Laerun? Hey, Melina, what's up, man? I'm just building a goblin bard, not a typical one. He's a school or college of the mariachi, and he has all these crossover weapons, except for his dagger, that are basically weapons. So all of his weapons are kind of hidden. They're built into the weapons, into the instruments. So he's built around performing and scheming and conniving and secrets, and he's got a kind of a nasty little background. And he is basically a little shit. He's got a little reputation, and he works between the 10 towns. Normally doesn't leave 10 towns, but if he does, he has a few things to help him out. He's got a potion of visibility and a potion of healing, and then he's got all these other abilities. Not sure why the subterranean thing came out here, because this is a 6th level feature. So that's just probably notating something. But yeah, so he's got all his racial traits. He's got his proficiencies, his languages, his inventory's organized. He has his notes are pretty much done. That's that. And all his actions are ready. Now, you don't have to have your characters this far along, but I just wanted to show you it can be done. And then you have all these items that you can track. Now, they don't connect to the inventory, so you have to manually adjust them, but it's just a handy way to keep track of them. And then this is in case you want to throw the oil. And then if you want to use the torch as a fire stick. And there was a, what do you call it, a crowbar in here, which gives you advantage if you wanted to break into something. But I took it off because it's not an item that disappears. And that's pretty much, and then he has his duck ability, his fire stick ability, which is related to this torch. And then he has goblin escape, and then the tick tick boom, which is the the potential damage types that he can have depending on which device he builds. And then he's got tinkerer's tools and things, and you can buy scrap and build little trinkets and stuff. So he's a pretty cool character. Pretty happy with it. Now I'm going to find him a little token. See if the old Icewind Dale has something for him. Not really. Okay. So here's some others. So that's not really what I'm looking for. I know he's in Volo, so I might have to look at a thief or something. Or a bard. Yeah, I don't really have a good goblin thing. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go to the actual class type things and look at those. Xanathar. So is there any goblins in here I can use? Not so much. Gnomes and such. Might use Pathfinder. They have goblin stuff. Oh yeah, perfect. Yep, Pathfinder it is. So I'm going to use Pathfinder items here to. That is cool. So that's his little portrait. And then I do have a token for him. So if I go into assets, and there's two folders. The campaign folder is specific to this campaign. The data folder is shared amongst all campaigns. So I'm going to go to the data folder and I'm going to look at Bernardo Hasselman's tokens. And here's all the goblin kin. And I'm pretty sure I can find something that'll work. So here's a bomber, goblin bomber, which is cool. There's an engineer, there's a Nilbog, there's a sorcerer type, there's one with the chain master. There's this little goblin that looks like he's been locked up for a while. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use the bomber one. Because there's not really one with there's a jester looking one. And then there's this shaman looking one. It kind of doesn't really fit. So I think I'm just gonna use the bomber one. Because he's throwing some sort of bomb. Even though he doesn't really have bombs to throw, he still has that ability. So it kind of fits. And then there's one with there's a goblin engineer. That actually looks pretty good. Maybe I'll use the engineer. Yeah, I'll use the goblin engineer. So there we go. So there's the complete character. I got him on the combat tracker now. And I give him a name. So even though he's not a tinker, I just kind of want to give him that description so people can understand what they're getting into. He's just not your typical bard. And then there's a bunch of things that you should activate if you play the character like this. So nimble escape is a bonus action, so that is something that you would not use unless you were going to use it as a bonus action. So it's not constant. So you wouldn't enable that. But everything else looks like it's passive. So I don't have to really add anything, but you want to add your jack of all trades because that gives you +1 on initiative. But everything else is subjective to the situations. So that's all you'd have to do for him. And let's see what he looks like on the battle map. Okay, so the other day I did a little skirmish here. Oh yeah. He fits in just right. So that's cool. So this is the rest of the party. You have the ranger, who is an ice elf or snow elf. You have the Goliath druid, You have the Dwarven Barbarian, who's actually a battle rager. And then you have, of course, the Goblin, and then the Ice Sorceress. She's kind of a human variant that has taken on some of the powers of the snow. She has an interesting backstory. But anyway, so that's the party so far. So there's a group of 5. I might make a couple more members, at least one more. I'm not sure what to make. Anybody got a handle on that? Have you built your full party? Almost. Been watching LOL. This dude seems like a Swiss knife. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is definitely. He's pretty much done. Now, if you guys have any suggestions on what other character I should make, that'd be great. Because let's see, I have a ranger, I have a barbarian, I have a bard, I have a sorceress. Now, I don't have a straight healer, but we have a druid. So he kind of fills that role. So I can't think of what other, maybe a warrior, another warrior type, or a straight cleric, maybe. Maybe a fighter cleric, like a dwarven fighter cleric might be cool. Um, a wizard might be good. We kind of have those roles filled. So with 5 people there, and being that that goblin is very utility, that's a pretty nice party. Got a little bit of muscle there. I guess if I built anything else, I'd probably build a couple more. I'd probably build a warrior type that's just well, the barbarian is pretty much that, but maybe a disciplined warrior like a town guard or something like that. And then the other thing would be like maybe a thief that's, a straight rogue that's just a scout or something like that. But other than that, I can't think of too many other classes I'd want to be. Maybe if we didn't have the tinkerer part in the bard, I might make a tinkerer gnome or something, but we already kind of have that covered. So maybe an animal or a horse or some kind of creature or something that's part of their party. I don't know. So what do you guys think? I don't know how many of you are still here, but um, I would like to know what your comments are. So if you want to comment after the video, that'd be great. But I need one more class or one more character to make a party of 6. Like I said, I have the bard kind of fills in a lot of places. So he's got tinkering, he has a little bit of magic, and he has some rogue abilities. So he kind of fills that role. The druid is not really a healing druid, but he definitely has that role covered somewhat, and the tie-in with the land. And then you have the barbarian, which makes sense because he's in the great northern wastes, and he has the correct armor and the type of build that would make sense for that area. I really think a paladin would be cool, but I can't see them run around with steel armor in that type of environment. So maybe just another type of warrior, maybe a pirate type or something, like a sailor or somebody that knows how to use a boat or knows how to navigate with a boat. And we have a ranger, which is basically going to be our tracker. Or do we? Do we have a ranger? Yeah, we do. We have the snow elf. So the snow elf is definitely a tracker and hunter type, and then we have the ice sorceress, which brings an interesting dynamic of snow and ice magic. So we have a pretty good positive group here. I'm just not sure what else we would need. I can maybe see a straight rogue or a straight healer, maybe, but that just seems redundant because we already have a lot of those things covered. So all I can think of is maybe some more muscle. We have a ranged fighter and we have a face-to-face fighter. So maybe a champion or somebody that's more organized, like a town guard. Maybe it's a monk that we need. That might be something that I haven't thought of. A monk. So I might make a monk character next, and he might have some interesting things to bring to the table, depending on what temple he's from. But I think a monk would work well. Very quiet monk, one that's a total martial artist, or that's really good with a single weapon. I think that would be awesome. So you get kind of a martial slash utility, kind of a soft warrior type, but it's not a fighter. So that's pretty cool. So we'll have to think about maybe the drunken master or something like that. Someone that's, kind of been through a rough time, and he's like an outlander or an outcast from his past, and he's hanging out in the northern areas trying to get his life together, and he runs into trouble. I think he's kind of like the guy from Kung Fu, David Carradine. He's up there in a great uh, Western uh, society, but he's still got his old ancient culture that he's pulling in, and he uses that wisdom to survive and to take care of things. So we'll see. But I think a monk is probably my best idea. Anyways, I'm gonna call it a stream, and hopefully you guys have a good night. Talk to you later. Bye bye.